This is DANL 100, Programming for Data Analytics, Chapter 17, A True Data Variable, Introduction to Data Frame, and Data Output. Agenda. In this short video, I'll discuss the following topics. Topic number 1, how to generate a true data variable. Topic number 2, Introduction to Data Frame. So this is first part. Topic number 3, how to save a CSV file and how to save a pickle file. Topic number 4, how to generate ff3Monthly.pickle dataset. Topic number 1, a true data variable. Okay, first one, so let's input Panda. We use Panda. Okay, input. Okay, so let's make it bigger. Okay, so let's input Panda as PD. Okay, so let's define an integer. I'm going to use today. So this is April 29. Okay, so this is A equals 2021 0429. Okay, so I'm just call it D equals Panda 2. So there's so-called the data time variable. Okay. Okay, so this is argument. Okay, so this is a format. Okay, so this is a format. So format crucially depend. Recall when we use R. I'm going to show you the corresponding R code. Okay, so this is %y and %n and %d. Okay, so this is A is integer, D. So we use PD. This is pandas to date time. So format depend on our input. So we run it. So let's on the right hand side. So this is A. So this is D. Okay. So if we look at the D. Okay. So this is its time stamp. Okay. 2021-04-29. So if we use D. Okay, D date, then we can get our date variable. Okay, because for this course, usually we only care about, so we don't care about hours, we don't care about the minutes, we don't care about the time period. Okay, so why not? We simply use date. So this is, we only care about date. Okay, so I'm going to run it again. Okay, so let's look at the D. Okay, so this is date time date. So this is a correct date variable. Okay. Okay, so let's look at remember. So I'm going to using R to look at it. Okay. Okay, for the R. Okay, suppose I use the same one. Okay, so this is A equal to this one, D equals S, date, A, format equal %y, %n, and %d. So let's try this one. Let's try this one using the R code. Okay, the issue is the A is integer. Okay, so if we use, so here if we use S, so if we use S character, okay, or toString, then we can get a correct data variable. Suppose D plus 40. And so this is April 29 and June 8th. So this is two data variable. Okay, so let's go back to the Python. Okay, and so this is A, so D. Okay, so let's look at how can we retrieve. So this is D. Okay, so D will be a true data variable. Okay, so let's look at how can we retrieve the years, months, and date. Okay, for the R, okay, so this is D. Okay, format D, and so we use %y. Okay, so if we, so date is a date variable. Okay, so D is true data variable. Then we can use %y to retrieve the string part. Suppose we want as integer, so as an integer, then we can, so this is becomes a number, so we can plus 10. So 2021 we plus 10, 2031. Okay, so this is the most important part. Okay, suppose we want to retrieve year. It is also true if we want to retrieve the months, so %m and %d. Okay, if we want to, so we know this is 2021 and 0429. So we can use %y to get part of the year. We use %m, get part of the month, and %d, we can get part of date. Okay, so let's look at Python. Okay, actually the Python is much simpler. Okay, so if we hit D dot, okay, then we hit tab, you see the date here. So this is month and also years. Okay, and also year, also week date. Okay, so D year, then we get D dot year 2021. Okay, D year, suppose we add 10. And so D dot year itself is integer already. Okay, suppose D months, we can get 4 and D day. Okay, D day. And what is the weekday? So weekday, and today is a Thursday, so we have to add 1. Okay, and another, so if we hit D, we add tab, and we can see a str. Okay, so this one. Okay, and so this is a percentage y. So this is equivalent to our function. Okay, %m and %d. Okay, so strf time. Okay, so this is corresponding to the format from R. Okay, so actually it's much easier. We use D year, D month, and D day. Okay, all this function are much easier. Okay, so let's look at the difference. Okay, I'm going to mention another one. Suppose let's choose as a string. So it is not an integer. Okay, I'm going to treat this as case number 1. So let's look at case number 2. Suppose instead, so let's call it A2. And suppose this is it's a string. To see whether it works. Okay, so D2. Yes, D2 is still work. Okay, so it still works. Okay, so let's look at another variation. Okay, so let's copy. So let's call it A3. So D3. So this is A3. Okay, so let's use 0, so 5, 20, and 2021. Okay, so this is a little bit different. Okay, we put the month, and then date, then year. Okay, so we have to change accordingly. So first one is m, and so because we have %y. Okay, so we have a3. So this is a string. So this is month, day, so month / day / and year. Okay, D3 and A3 format, and because this format depends on the A3, so I'm going to write it. And D3. Okay, D3. Okay, so D3 will be correct to data variable. Okay, so let's look at the difference. So difference equals D3 minus D2. So let's look at the difference. Okay, and DIF. Okay, so this is difference. Okay, and so difference will be datetime dot time delta. Okay, and difference is 21 days. Okay, and we cannot add something. Okay, suppose we type the difference plus 30, then we got a error message. Okay, because this is time delta format, it's not integer, so we can not add directly. So if we type DIF dot, then we hit tab. Okay, then we see it's called a days. So let's click here. It's days. Okay, then now we can use days plus 30 because diff dot days. So this one is an integer. Okay, I repeat. Okay, so we can use pandas to datetime to define a true data variable. Okay, so our input can be an integer, can it be a string, and can in different orders. Okay, and we use format. So our format depends our input. Our input can be an integer, can be a string, and we can month, day, and the year, or day, month, and the year. Okay, it's depends on different order. Okay, and if we want to look at the difference, then we can use diff dot days. So this is integer. Difference itself is not an integer. We cannot add a value to the diff. We had to add diff dot dates. Okay, if we want to retrieve year from a true data variable, it's very simple. Simply D2, we use year. Okay, so actually we can use type. We can look at the type of this one. So actually it is an integer. So this is end of topic number 1. Topic number 2. So let's look at the data frame. Okay, so this is the first part of the data frame. In the future, for the next chapter, I'll explain more related to the data frame. So first one is, so let's retrieve a data set. So let's retrieve a data set. So actually it is the structure of the data set is data frame. Then we are going to look at the dimension of the data frame, and we can how to choose the first column and the second column, how to choose the first 10 line, last 10 line, and like this way. Okay, like we choose the rows and M1 to M2, and we choose column M1 to M2. Okay, so this is the first part about Python data frame. Okay, so let's input. So let's we use panda. Okay, so pandas. Okay, so path equals http data yyy.com, and suppose we use data pickle, and so this is the path. Okay, and so my file equals ff3Monthly.pickle, and so actually our next task is about how to generate this one. Okay, in file it's path plus and my file. Okay, so let's run it to see. So this is as so input. So let's use number signs here. I input panda as PD. So pass my file. In file is pass plus my file. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so this is in file. Okay, so actually, if you are not sure, you can manually check whether we can download it. Okay, so we can manually check. And if you look at the left-hand side, left bottom, so this is a valid link. So this is a valid link. So let's go back. Okay, so this is data frame equals PD read pickle and in file. Okay, so this is, we are going to read this one. Okay, so let's run it. So we only need to run the last line. Okay, and df head and df tail. Okay, so we got it correctly. So I'm going to explain how to get the first column, how to get the second column, and continue this way. Okay. So we can use the df dot head without any input. Okay, suppose we use df head instead of we can use enter 10. So we look at the first 10 rows, and this is also true. Suppose we are interested last 3 rows. Okay, then we use df dot tail. Okay, and suppose there's another way to look at the first 10. Okay, so this is df use ILOC. So this is called like I is integer. Okay, so this is we know for the counting is from 0. Okay, so 0 to 10. Okay, I'm going to 10. I'm going to compare these two. Okay. Okay, I'm going to, so let's look at 5. df head 5. Okay, we look at the first 5 line. Okay, so another way is we look at 5. Okay, so this is 5. Okay, and you see they're identical. So 19, so it's March. Okay, so this is 0 to 5. Okay, and also I think we can use comma. This one, yeah, same thing. Okay, same thing. Okay, and so let's look at, suppose we don't have I. We don't have I, and if we don't have I, so 0 to 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's use 1 to 5. Yeah, 1 to 5 is correct. Okay, so this is another way. Suppose let's use, so this is, I'm going to show you. Okay, suppose n1 equals 100 and n2 equals 105. Okay, and n1, n2. Okay, suppose we interested the data frame ILOC. So this is n1 to n2. Okay, so this is we get from n1 to n2. Okay, so this is one way to get part of the data set. Okay, so let's look at how to get this column. Okay, this data column. Okay, recall. So let's try the R programs. Okay, I'm going to always try to compare. Okay, so x equals load. So this is load dot load and http data yyyy.com. So this is data r and r ff3 monthly rdata. Okay, and so head x, tail x. Okay, so let's look at how can retrieve the first column. Okay, using r. Okay, so a equals x. So we use dollar signs, dollar date. Okay, so head a, and so this is date variable. Okay, this is date column. Okay, then a dollar data. So this is first method. Okay, so actually we have another method we can use, and so this is we choose the first column. Okay, we use first column. So head b. Okay, as I mentioned, there are two methods. The first method is we use a equals our data frame dollar date, the variable name. Okay, the second method is we use ax square bracket and comma and colon, first colon. Okay, so this is we have two methods to choose specific columns. Okay, so let's look at the Python. Okay, so let's look at the Python. And the first method is a equal data frame and date. Okay, so this is quite similar to the R. So, and for R, use data frame dollar date. Here we replace dollar with a dot. Okay, so let's look a head. Then you see we indeed choose the first variable. Okay, and another method is like look at the b. So b equals. So this is data frame, and we can specify name date. You see the date, and close it. Okay, so this is a dot data frame dot date. So this is data frame and square bracket. We specify the name. Okay, so let's look at the b head. Okay, b head. So this is same thing as a. Now we have the b. Okay, so this is we can choose a specific columns. Okay, so let's try another one. D equals frame I LOC. Okay, so we choose everything, and we choose 0. Okay, so let's look at D. So D head. Okay, again we got correctly. Okay, so this is I location. So I integer location. We choose all the columns, comma. Recall it's count from 0. So this is 0 will be the first column. Okay, so compare with R. So we have 3 methods to pick up specific columns. So R, we know if we want to look at dimension. Okay, suppose, so let's go back to the one line code, df. Okay, suppose we load ff3Monthly.rdata and we use dim, so we can look at dimension. Okay, so this is how many rows. Alternatively, we can use 1. So this is choose the first dimension and second dimension. Okay, alternatively, can we use number of the row and number of the column to choose the dimension. Okay, so let's look at R. Okay, so R, and we need another called numpy. Okay, so dimension equals numpy shape. data frame. Okay, so let's run these two lines. Okay, so if you look at dimension, DIM, so it's 1, 1, 2, 3, and 5 columns. Okay, if we want to choose first one, so we enter a 0. So if we choose the second one, then is so the 1, 1, 2, 3 dimension. So this is 1. So 0, first number of the row and number of the column. Okay. Okay. So, suppose we want to choose column 2 to column 3. Okay, I forgot another command is suppose we want to look at all the columns names. Okay, so this is head. So we know the first one is date, market underscore minus rate free rate, small minus big, high minus low, rate free. Okay, so we can use COLNAM column name COLNAMES function to pick up all the columns variable names. Okay, and for the Python, and we use column. We use columns. Okay, then you see we can get date, market, and it's quite similar compared with R. Suppose we call it names equals, so this is type names. Okay, so this is index names 0. So this is the first one. Okay, the first one. Okay, then is free will be the last one. Okay, and for the R, we have another command. It's called rows names. Okay, suppose, so let's use names2 equals rows names df. Okay, so this is head names2 tail names2. Okay, and so actually it's this one. And so on the left hand side of the date variable 1, 2, 3, 4, and continue this way. Okay, so actually these are the rows names. Okay, and so let's look at corresponding Python. Okay, the Python actually is called index. I use so let's use name2. So name2 equals df index. Okay, so let's look at names2 head. If it's not working, so no name2. Okay, no s. Okay, so this is name2 from 0 to 10. Okay, I think should be list. Okay, so you see, actually it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's almost identical to the R rows name. So for R, we use rows name. For the Python, we use data frame dot index. Topic number 3. So let's save a CSV file. Okay, I'm going to use ff3Monthly.pickle that we save as CSV file, and also we can save the like IBM like Excel file, and we save as a pickle. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Okay, so this is input pandas as PD. So input pandas PD path equals http data yy.com. So data pickle. Okay, so data pickle, and my file equals ff3Monthly.pickle. Okay, so in file it's the summation of these two, and data frame equals panda. dot read pickle in file. Okay, so this is, we simply repeat the previous one. So we are going to run it. http data.yyy.com data pickle. Okay, I forgot a forward slash. Okay, so pickle. So let's run it again. So we got it. df head. Okay, and saving to a CSV file is easy. Okay, so simply df to, you see the CSV. Okay, CSV. Then we specify ff3. Excuse me. ff3 monthly and CSV. Okay, so this is only a line method. Okay, so this is only a line method. So data frame dot to CSV. Okay, I'm going to run it. Okay, and so we can use input os list dir. Okay, so we can see, so this is ff3Monthly.csv. Indeed, we save it. Okay, so if we want to look at the current working directory, okay, so this is current working directory. So this is cyn teaching and code. So let's look at the structure. Okay, so this is cyn teaching rpy. So this is code, and so this is our output. Okay, so this is our output. Okay, so obviously we don't need this one. Okay, we don't need the, so this is row. Okay, so let's close it. Okay, so let's go back to Python. Okay, so if we do this way, okay, so CSV, we type here, and you see the to CSV, and what is the parameter? Okay, so ff3 monthly.csv. Okay, so let's look at help. Okay, so let's so called dir print dir pandas. Okay, so this is we can find all the function. Okay, so this is if you see the two numeric to pickle. Two. Okay, there's no to CSV. Okay, so help pd to CSV. Okay, data frame. Okay, so let's look at the structure. Okay, and so this is to underscore CSV. Okay, so this is field format. So let's look at index. Okay, uniform chunk size now. Data format, distance boolean. So index label. Okay, index label. Index. Okay, so let's use index equals false. Okay, so let's make it 2. Okay, so let's make it 2. So let's run it. Okay, so let's open it. Okay, so we have ff3 monthly, ff3 2. Okay, so let's look at here. And so this is the data set we prefer. Okay, so this is we don't have the index file. So index, so let's go back to R. So this is index equals false. Okay, just remember. So let's go back to R. So let's go back to R. Okay, so head df. Okay, Remember when we save it, so save the write.csv. So data f, so this is file equals, so let's make it C temp ff3 monthly3.csv. Okay, suppose, so let's save the write.csv df. Okay, so this is our data set, and this is file name and CSV. And so let's go back to C and temp. So this is our file. So let's look at it. Now I can use Notepad. You see, we also have this one. So this is rows. Okay, so let's go back. I'll close it. Close it. Okay, and how can we ignore? So actually, so usually is row name equals false. Okay, so this is equivalent to, okay, so let's go back to the ff3Monthly. Okay, then we eliminate those row names. Okay, so this is for the R. For the R, we use rows names equals false. Okay, for the Python, we use index equal false. Actually, they are quite similar. Okay, so let's look at how to save to a table. Okay, let me see date. So this is panda to table. Okay, can I see the table? And so there's no table. Okay, and suppose we want to save to a text file. Okay, so this is to CSV. So let's call it 4. Okay, so txt. Okay, and we use separator. Separate equals, we use tab. Okay, so this is tab. Okay, so this is different between these two. Okay, even we use same data frame .to underscore CSV, we use CSV because we specify the separate is tab. Okay, so I'm going to run it and I'm going to open it. Okay, so this is it's different. Okay, it's different location. Okay, so this is CYAN teaching. This one code. So this is so I'm going to use a notepad to open it. Okay, so this is my data set. This is my data set. So this is, you see the tab. Tab is used as the separate to separate them. Okay, the tab. Okay, and so let's go back to R. Okay, and so actually we also can use CSV. Okay, write CSV, and so let's call it 5 txt, and sep equals tab. Okay, and so let's run it. Okay, so this is SEP, it's not SEQ. Okay, if we use write.table, okay, so this is write table. Okay, and we don't have to specify. Okay, so let's call it 6, and we don't have to specify the separator. So actually these two are equivalent. I repeat. Okay, and for the R we can use actually write.csv, write.table. They are almost identical. Okay, almost identical. For write.csv, the default separator is CSV. So if we specify separator equals tab, then we can output a text file. Okay, and it is also true if we want to use write.table to output a CSV file, then we specify separator as a comma as the separator, then we can output a CSV file. So this is for the R. Okay, for the Python, because we don't have to_table, then we can use to_CSV to output a CSV file without specify separate is comma. If we want output a text file, then we can specify a tab as the separator. Of course, we can specify other separator. So df.to_CSV, one function can serve two purposes. Okay, so next one, I'm going to try to download the Excel file and save as a CSV file, and also text file and pickle file. Okay, so import. Okay, I'll make it bigger. So import pandas as pd. Okay, path equals so this is data Excel. Okay, and my file is IBM. Okay, so this is IBM. So in file equals path plus my file. Okay, so data frame equals and read Excel. Okay, Excel. Okay, in file. Okay, and because I have two sheets. First one is called daily. Second one is called monthly. Okay, so I can use sheet name equals daily. Okay, and then I'm going to use another one called monthly. Okay, I'm going to run it. Okay, so let's look at the structure. Okay, so this is daily data, 1962 January 2nd, 1962 January 3rd. So this is data frame 1. So we can save it. So this is 2 CSV, and so this is C temp IBM daily CSV. Okay, as I mentioned, and we use index equals false. Okay, so this is, then we can save it. Okay, so this is we save it to ctemp IBM daily.csv. Okay, okay, so this is the first one. The second one, as I mentioned, so this is, so let's call it df2. So df2, so this is monthly. So this is monthly. Okay, so this is monthly data set, and so we called monthly. Okay, we called monthly and CSV. So let's use the txt. Okay, so txt separate equals and so / tab is tab. So we save as tab. Okay, and we run it, and we run it. Okay, so actually monthly, there's no code monthly, MNTH, I think is lowercase monthly. Okay, let's run it. Yeah, we got it. So df2 head. Okay, so this is monthly data. So 1985 January and 1985 February. Okay, so this is monthly data. Okay, so if you want to save what is called a pickle data set, so to pickle. Okay, C temp IBM monthly.pickle. So we save as pickle file. So df2, so suppose we save monthly as pickle, then we can save it. Okay, so if we go to the ctemp and then we see our data. This is IBM Monthly.pickle. So this is IBM Monthly as text file, and this is IBM Daily as a CSV file. I'm going to discuss the difference between data frame LOC versus data frame LOC. Okay, I think from previous one it's not very clear. Okay, so we use the difference with I. So let's download the data. Okay, so this is input pandas as PD. Okay, path equals and data pickle. Okay, my file equals ff3Monthly.pickle. Okay, in file equals path plus my file. Okay, data frame. So this is read pickle in file. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so let's run it. Sorry, this is PD. Okay, data panda. Okay, so this is panda. Okay, so this is should it be data frame equal. Okay, so this is okay. I think the previous part is not very clear. Okay, so let's use. Okay, so I'm going to show you the difference. Okay, and so this is our data set. Okay, so let's use from 5 to 10. Okay, df. Okay, so I LOC and from 5 to 10. Okay, so from 5 to 10. So actually you see this is start from 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because when we use I, the starting count is 0. Okay, starting count. So this is actually 0. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 5 actually is 6. Okay, so let's look at without I and 5 to 10. So actually it's really start from 5 because this is LOC. It's depend on the index on this one. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So actually one observation difference. So this is different between .I LOC and LOC. So last one, okay, for the home number 3, I asked students to download the list SAS.pickle, and I asked students to show the last 3 SAS dataset. Okay, and some students use a negative value. Okay, however, there are some issues with their answer. Okay, so let's look at use this one as an example. Okay, and so we use df, so tail 3. So let's look at the last 3. So last 3 observation, 1121, 1122, and 1123. Okay, and some students show this one. So this is an ILOC. So this is -3, -1. Okay, so let's look at what they will get. Okay, and some students use -4. Okay, I'm going to use 4. Okay, and so actually, if you look at here, so -1, -4 to -1. Okay, so if you look at the -1, and although we have 3 observation and compare with 3 observation here, you see 1 observation is missing. Okay, so -1 actually refers to last but 1. So last but 1. Okay, suppose we want to truly use negative value. Okay, we have to use, so this is, so let's look at without, what is the impact without this one? So we got, you see, we got the last one. So so this is, so I'm going to use df tail 3. Okay, and the correct answer should be, okay, so this is df dot tail 3. So this is truly last 3 observation. So last 3 observation. So if we use df dot iloc, so it's -3 colon comma colon. Okay, so then we can get the, this is truly last 3 values. Okay, and topic number 4, generate ff3 monthly pickle dataset. Okay, so .ice. Okay, so this is okay. First one, so let's look at the data type. Okay, so let's go back to here. Okay, make it bigger. Okay, so this is import. Input. So let's generate a date. Okay. A equals, so today 2021-04-7. Okay, so this is an integer. Okay, so let's look at date. Okay, PD to date time. Okay, so this is A format equal, and so percentage Y, percentage M, and percentage D. Okay, so we define the integer A, so this is today. Then we try to use to panda dot to date time. So the input A and format depend on our input. Okay, I'm going to run it. Okay, so let's look at A. So let's look at DD. Okay, so DD is timestamp. So 2021 and April 27. So this is hours. So this is minutes and second. Obviously, we don't need, so DD date. Okay, DD date. So we can pick up the date. So obviously, maybe it's a good idea. So you will enter dot date here. Okay, then so our DD itself, it will be a date. Okay, so let's look at. Suppose this is a string. Okay, so let's look at, suppose this is string. So A2, and so this is 04 and 27 and 2021. Okay, 2021. Suppose this is a string. Okay, so let's look at so DD2, and so this is A2, so this is M, so this is D, and this is Y. So let's look at as a true data variable. Okay, so this is, so let's copy, so let's run it. Okay, so A2 equals, so this is month. Okay, I think I add a 0 here. Okay. Okay, I forgot forward slash and forward slash. Okay, so this is okay, so DD2. Okay, so this is a true data variable. Okay, so let's compare with R. So let's compare with R. So if we assign a value, so this is integer. So we know we can use as date. So this is A format equals percent. So this is equals percentage Y, percentage M, and percentage D. Okay, we got an error message. Okay, because this is integer. Okay, I think so we can use as character. Okay, so let's use as character. Okay, dd plus 40. Okay, again for the R we use s dot date. So s dot date. D is capital D. Okay, so this is for the a date variable. Okay, the date variable. Okay, so next one, so let's look at the simple loop. Okay, simple loop for R and Python. Okay, so this is 18. So 18. Because no, it's not. It's 18 is 55. So 55. Okay, so this is a very simple loop. So let's print a number from 1 to 10. So for I in 1 to 10, print I. Okay, so this is like one line code. Okay, for I is for loop. 5 in a set of value from 1, 2, 3 up to 10, we print I. Okay, so let's look at the same structure, a similar structure. Okay, so let's continue working on this one. So for I in range 1, 10. Okay, so this is 10, and we print I. Okay, so it's almost identical to the previous one. Okay, for I in range 1, 10. Okay, so let's run these two lines. So let's run these two lines. You see, we from 1, 2, 3. The difference is the last value is 9. Okay, suppose if we want to print 10 numbers, so we have to add the extra one. Okay, so this is from 1, 2, 3 up to 10. Okay, so after we have this two, how to generate one true date variable and how to run a loop. So let's generate so-called ff3. So .ice. So we are going to generate the ff3 months ff3Monthly.pickle. So this is 56. So .ice 56. Okay, so this is our input data. Okay, so after we finish everything, I'll show you how to go to Preface French data library and to generate this one in the first place. Okay, so this is our input data. And so step 1, and there's our function called readLine. So we can look at the structure of this data set. Okay, then we are going to pd pandas.readCSV. We are going to retrieve this data set. Okay, then we generate the first column as true date variables, and we divide every value by 100. And finally, we save a pickle data set. So this is our task. Okay, so this is our input file. So let's call in file. Okay, so let's call in file. Okay, and x equals read line. So capital line in file. Okay, and again, so this is an excellent R function. Okay, suppose we are given a text CSV text file, and we can use read line. We look at the structure. Okay, so let's look at head x. Okay, so let's use 10. Okay, so let's use 10, and you will see at 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if we use Python to read the data, CSV data, we have to skip the first 3 lines. So we can treat first 3 lines as header. Okay, so the number 4 is the true header, is a variable names. Okay, and if you look at the first one, the date is missing. Okay, obviously date is missing, and also for this one is 1926-07. Okay, so this is YYYYMM. DD is missing as well. And also the separator is comma. So we will feel comfortable with use comma as separator. Use read the PD dot read underscore CSV. Okay, then we look at the tail, and you see there's no like copyright, there's no strange line. Okay, so this is about how to use step 1. Okay, use R read line to find its structure. Okay, again we need this line. Okay, so let's copy to the spider. Okay, okay, so input, so this is 1. Okay, and so this is path or in file. Okay, then with data frame equals panda read CSV. Okay, CSV. Okay, so if you look at here, okay, you see the separate is comma. It's like R read dot CSV. Okay, so let's look at the skip. Okay, that's where it is. Square header delimiter is now skip. Okay, you see skip rules. Okay, there's a so-called skip rule. Okay, so in file skip rules. Okay, skip rule equals 3. Okay, so this is so we input panda as PD. So this is our raw data set. Okay, and we read it, read underscore CSV. So let's run this 3. Okay, so let's look at PD, data frame, head. Okay, data frame head. So obviously, so this is consistent with our observation. Okay, so let's go back to the R. And the reason is that here we skip 3, then here the date is missing. The date variable is missing. Okay, so actually we can add colon. So this is colons equals, and so we have, so first one is date. Okay, so we can, so this is date. The second one is market minus reads free. Okay, the third one is small minus big and high minus low. Okay, the last one is reads free. Okay, so actually data frame dot colons. Okay, so then we add correct colons. Okay, so make it complete. Okay, equals date market minus reads free, small minus big, high minus low, reads free. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, df head. You see here, we have a date variables and market minus reads free. And so our next task is just make this the first column as a true data variable. The second task, divide all the value by 100. The reason is, so this is return 2.96. Actually, suggests is 2.96%. Okay. Okay, so let's save it first time. Okay, so ff3Pickle. So pickle. So let's call it ff3 monthly. Let's call it 1. pickle. So let's save the first time. Okay, make it as simple as possible. Okay, then we are going to modify to generate a true data variable. Then we are going to divide everything by 100. Okay. Okay, so we generate how can we find whether saved or not? So we use input OS. So OS list dir. So this is will list all the function. Okay. So this is ff3Monthly.pickle. Yes, indeed, we generate this one. So actually, okay. So next one is, so let's go back. df head. Okay. So let's get this number first. Okay. So A. So this is A. df. So this is so let's use date. So date. So first number. So this is, we get the first number. Okay. And so let's look at the first number. Okay. And so first number is 192607. Okay. Days missing. So actually we can times 100 plus 1. Okay. So let's run it again. So this is, so it becomes 19260701. Okay. Now we can generate appropriate date. So we can just so if you look at dd, so this is a true datetime.date variables. Okay. So let's generate how many rows. Remember we use okay, so input pen. So it's numpy s and p, because we are going to use numpy's shape. Okay. And so let's look at np shape and data frame. Okay. So np.shame df data frame, we have 128 rows. Okay. And so let's call it n equals np shape df, because we are interested in the first one. So we use the first 0. Okay, so let's do it. So this is n. So this is n. Again, so we have a loop I. So let's use dd equals. So actually we generate empty data set. Okay, for I in range 0 n. Okay, 0 n. Okay, so this is our loop. Okay, so this is our loop. So instead of 0, so we enter I. So this is I. And so actually, so that's called the B and dd append B. Okay, so this is our loop. I repeat. Okay, and so here we generate n. How many rounds we have to run? Okay, so dd, we signed a default dd. Okay, for each I, we pick up the a. Then we use panda.toDateTime function. Okay, so we only pick up the date, then we append to dd. So let's run it. Okay, so let's use dd head. Okay, it's not working. dd and from 0 to 10. Okay, you see there are two data variable. Okay, now we are going to add. So this is df date equal dd. Okay, so I'm going to add something here. Okay, so we're going to replace the first variable with dd. Okay, df. You see, indeed, the first variable is true data variable. Okay, so this is the first modification. We replace YYYMM with a true data variable. Okay, the next one, we divide everything by 100. Okay, so we can use df, okay, market risk free equals df market risk free divided by 100. Okay, similarly, we do the same thing for the other ones. Okay, so this is small minus big equals small minus big, and so this is high minus low equals high minus low divided by 100. So last one will be risk free divided by risk free. Okay, so this is we are going to divide by all value by 100. Okay, by all the value by 100. Okay, and so df dot market minus risk free, market minus risk free divided by 100, small minus big by 100, high minus low equals high minus low. Okay, equals high minus low by 100, risk free. Okay, so let's run it. Okay, so let's look at head. So this is, if you look at here, so 2.96, and now it's become 0.00296. The reason is before, when I'm teaching corporate finance, financial modeling, I give students this raw data. Okay, as always, I mentioned before you do anything, you should divide by all the return, divide by 100. But there's always some students, they forgot to divide by 100. So each month you earn like 296% return is unbelievable. Okay, so actually you should divide by 100. Okay, so finally, then we are going to save our data set. Okay, so this is a much better data set. Okay, so we are going to save it, and instead 1, so we saved, so ff3Monthly.pickle. So going to run it. Okay, I'm going to use OS. Okay, OS list dir to look at it. Okay, so if you look at ff3Monthly, and here is ff3Monthly1.pickle. Okay, again, I explained this exercise, and this is excellent exercise, and it's good idea you retrieve raw data to do exact same thing. Don't look at my code. Okay, and so we have CSV file. Okay, and originally at the very beginning, okay, so we use read line. We look at the structure. Okay, and obviously we have to skip the first 3 lines. Okay, so this is skip 3 line, and also the data column name is missing, and the comma is used as the separator. Okay, so this is, let's go back. Then we can just read, and we skip 3 row, skip row equals 3. Okay, and then dot data frame dot columns. Then we can assign a complete names. Okay, so the major reason is the date. Okay, and then we are going to generate a two data columns. Okay, because for the original one is only y, m. So we need a two data variable. Okay, so this is we use np.shape to look at how many rows. This is why we use 0, the first observation, because this is 2. There are two values and with a subscription of 0 and 1. Okay, then we give initial value is empty, dd equals empty. Okay, and so this one is so we generate integer. Okay, we retrieve one integer from data frame. We times 100 plus 1. So 2001 will become 200101. So we are the actual 01. Okay, and we applied to pandas dot to datetime. So this is our input. So this is a format, because format depend on our input variable. Because we only care about date, we don't care about hours, minutes, seconds. So we use dot date. Then we append to the dd. Okay, we append b to dd. Then we replace the first column called the date with our generate two data variable columns. Okay, then every values divided by 100. Finally, we save our dataset as ff3Monthly.pickle. So this is a pickle dataset you download from my web page. Okay, as a last step, I'll show you how to get original data. So if it's excellent, good exercise if you can update this dataset. Okay, so you can search Google and Professor French Data Library. So you Google Professor French Data Library. Okay, so going down. So this one is Pharma French 3-factor. Okay, and click CSV. So this is zip file. Eventually, I'll show you how to retrieve text file. Text file is different from CSV. So let's click it. Okay, so I download it as a zip file. Okay, so this is zip file. Okay, and I'm going to copy paste. Okay, so let's go to C temp. So this is C temp. Okay, so I'm going to use Notepad to open it. Open with Notepad. Okay, so this is the top part is exactly we see. Okay, so this is, so we have 1, 2, 3. We have 3. We have to skip three line or 3 rows. And here, this one is called date is also missing. I don't want to add a date here. Okay, and so let's go to the bottom. Okay, so let's go to the bottom. And so if you go here, I'm going up here. Okay, so this is monthly data. Okay, so this is annual data. So I simply delete. I delete the monthly data. Then I click File, Save As. So FF monthly and CSV. Okay, so this is how I generate CSV FF3. So FF3 monthly CSV file. So this is how I generate. Okay, so if you look here, so this is March 2021, and so if you go here, so this is tail. So this is 2020 and June 1st. Okay, again, it is excellent exercise. You try and download the raw CSV dataset from Professor French Data Library, and you just complete this process without looking at my code. Then it's If you can do it, it's excellent. It's excellent exercise, trying to remember each step.
Shutterstock Music.